And we have Heather with us, so let's welcome Heather.
Yeah. Yeah.
And good morning.
Good to finally see you, Heather.
Morning. So,
And Christy Watkins joined.
oh, hi, Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Hello. Rock on, everybody.
Rock on, baby.
All right, we have quite a big call today. We have, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12 people on the line. Let's welcome everyone by just shaking it up a little bit and enjoying celebrating this morning.
Go, Carolyn.
Oh, you know how I do. I'll get it. I'll get it on here. I don't mind.
Let's all just for a second, let's take a deep breath in and out. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Breathe one more time and just feel all the good feelings that you want to enter into your body. And I want you to put yourself in a room with 6,000 people 3 months ago and see Tony Robbins come on stage. And you can open your eyes and he goes just like this. And he goes, whoa. Yeah. And I want you to make your move and say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Yes. You're ready to have an incredible call. Say yes.
Yes.
Yes,
And make the sound of unstoppable intensity.
Woo!
I'm driving, so I can make all the noise that I want. No one's in the car.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's call. That was just a little bit of a intro there, and the reason it was so short is because I don't have to work too hard on getting you guys to focus, because that's what this call is going to be about. And so we're going to welcome our host, and just a second before that, I'll say that I'm going to get off this call just so I can focus and leave you guys to, work on your focus, and I'll watch this video later. I'll come on in the end just to say goodbye and help you guys rock it out. So let's welcome Heather with a big old round of applause.
Yeah! Woo, woo.
Thank you, Yali. Thank you, everybody. I'm really excited you guys are all here this morning. I'm sure, bed was comfy, but, this is an exciting topic for all of us. I think every single day, what you're going to focus on is going to have a huge effect on your day. So one thing I started noticing, I do a lot of yoga, and one thing I was noticing is my own focus. I tend to think I'm really positive, but then there's a lot of times in my day where I realize I might be positive, but I'm also putting energy with my thoughts towards things that are maybe not the most ideal. So yoga, maybe I have a very sore knee, and I'm thinking in the posture, oh, my sore knee, my sore knee, my sore knee. Instead, I started to change that, and I started to think, okay, well, I have one sore knee. That's just one little tiny part of my body. I have really strong arms. I have a strong core. I have my right knee that's still really strong, and the rest of my body is doing great. So if I start thinking about really fully engaging the rest of my body that's very, very strong, and less energy towards, oh no, my poor sore knee, then the postures can just really open up. And then bottom line is, if you're fully engaged with your strengths, the sum of your strengths when they're engaged are going to dwarf all of your weaknesses. For example, if you have a paper cut and then suddenly someone hits you over the head with a baseball bat, you're not going to notice that paper cut anymore. Your focus has just switched to what's most urgent. And the same kind of thing can happen in a positive way. Like if you have a paper cut, those can be really annoying. There's something there and you're like, I can't get my mind off it. Oh, it's impossible. It's a paper cut. But if someone suddenly told you, just for a second, like imagine someone that you really, really want to meet, maybe someone you really look up to, someone like, maybe it's like Tony Robbins, maybe it's the Dalai Lama, maybe it's some sports hero or some celebrity. And if someone suddenly told you they want to fly you out tonight for dinner, I don't think you forget about that paper cut almost instantly. So it's just about the fact that our focus, we do have some control over where we're going to put our focus. And there's a lot about where we put our focus can be a lot more efficient and a lot more beneficial to us if we make a choice about where to put that. And our focus is not just a thought, there's energy behind our focus. Our focus can create actual physical changes in our body. If you spend a few minutes just doing some deep breathing, you can actually start to visualize. If you're just lying down, you do some deep breathing, and you start to think about your hands becoming very, very warm, or visualize sending a lot of blood flow to your hands. You can actually raise the temperature of your hands just by thinking about it. So this is what you have to recognize, how important the focus is of your mind. And one thing I want to say is a lot of us think, I can't focus. I'm like ADD. I can't do it. It's like my brain is all over the place. I have so many ideas going on. I don't know where to start. Well, focus is just a skill. Focus, it's not a gift. It's not like, oh, well, some people are born with it. Focus is just a skill. Even if you have ADD, this is just your brain switches more rapidly than most people. Your brain is always going task to task to task. It doesn't matter how fast it goes. It might go really fast from task to task or really slow. Maybe you look at one thing for 5 minutes and then another task. Some people, it's 5 seconds task to task. If you have something like ADD, or you feel like your mind is always constantly flying around, that just gives you a better opportunity to practice the skill of refocusing your mind. So think of it this way, if you were a gymnast and you wanted to practice a specific move, like maybe a flip, and you had the opportunity to practice that 10 times a minute or 50 times a minute, do you think you'd get better at doing that flip if you practiced it 50 times a minute, or if you practiced it only 10 times a minute? Probably the person who did it 50 times a minute is going to get better than the person who's only doing it 10 times. So the skill of refocusing is the same. Like if you actually need to practice more, if you feel like your focus is worse, then you actually get to practice more. You get to practice the skill of refocusing on what you want more often. So you can actually make that work for you. And then when you've learned the skill of refocusing and shifting it back, then you can turn it on when you really, really need it. And this is important. Where you put your focus is important in all aspects of your life. It's not just, financial, business. It's very important in your personal life. And we were talking about me being divorced yesterday, which it did happen in the past. It didn't happen recently, but I wanted to just share a story kind of related to that, and it relates to focus. I had some really good advice given to me by a friend, and he had said to me, Heather, you're going to be surprised by the people who are there to support you, who you didn't expect to be there. And you're going to be really surprised at the people who you thought would be there to support you who aren't. And he was absolutely right. There was people in my family who were, I thought when I told them this was happening, that I was getting divorced, that they would be supportive and compassionate and understanding and there. But they were angry. They were upset. I came from a Catholic background. They couldn't understand it. But I had friends who came forward and supported me in a lot of other ways. And from that, one thing I really learned, and I've applied it a million times since then, is you can choose to focus on the fact that maybe certain people aren't there in your life, or you can choose to kind of open yourself and look to whoever does show up in your life. So it's really important. Like sometimes there are days when maybe you're like, well, I really wish my best friend was there for me today. They aren't there for me. What kind of best friend are they? They're just the worst. Or you could be like, wow, this random stranger at Starbucks was awesome. And my coworkers were really good to me today at work. And maybe a friend I haven't talked to in a long time was there. And I really think if you do focus on the people that are there, you can't control the ones that aren't. But when you start focusing on the ones that are, including yourself, it makes a huge difference on how you're going to feel about your day. So that's just an example of choosing to focus on something that's more positive and is going to cause you less pain. Another thing that I think focus really comes in handy. One time I had to pay off a $10,000 loan to a school in England as a starving artist. And when it first happened that I realized I had taken out this loan, but I didn't really understand the value of money. And then they were like, oh, you have to pay this off in a year. And I was like, what? I barely have any income. But I ended up saying, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I did it. And I did it without that much pain. It wasn't that hard. But it's because I was focusing on what I needed to do. I focused everything on making sure that loan got paid. I didn't focus on what I was missing out on. I didn't focus on like how I didn't get to go to movies with my friends. I just made that my absolute priority and got really excited every time I made a loan payment. And I did things like, okay, well, it's more expensive to buy this 99-cent bagel at the coffee shop versus buying 6 bagels for 99 cents at the grocery store. So I made choices that made that happen. So it's about focusing on what's going to get you the results that you want. And it wasn't that hard once you committed to the goal. So just a couple more things. I think when I look right now at life, like every day, you're going to get presented with 1,000 situations that you get to kind of decide, how am I going to react to this? Or how am I going to view this? And it's kind of like one of those choose your own adventure stories, like that you might have read as a kid, where they're going to say, okay, well, do you want to turn to page 52 to see if you want to go into the cave, or do you want to run away from the cave? And our real life is kind of like that. We actually get to take a second a lot of the time and go, how do I want to react to this? What am I going to focus on here? If it's our relationship with ourselves, are we going to focus on how bad we feel because we made some mistakes? Or are we going to focus on how we can learn and grow from those? If it's our relationship with other people, are we going to focus on what they didn't do for us today? Or maybe how we can better serve them to be their best selves? And if it's our business or career, do we want to focus on improving solely on a financial level? Or how about we're also focusing on how we can develop as human beings as we grow in our work? It's kind of like financial advisors would say, you got to diversify. And if you're diversifying your idea of success, you're going to start to see rewards coming in a lot sooner. So on the final note, I would just like to say, you always have to remember, you have a choice on what you want to focus on, and focus is just a skill. So if you find it difficult in the beginning, just keep practicing, and eventually that skill will get stronger and stronger and stronger, and you'll be able to make those choices much more easily. And remember, you have that power inside of you to be able to start making your own adventure every day and make it the best adventure you can. And that's all I got to say. So if anyone likes to comment, please.
Can we give her a round of applause? That was amazing. That was really good, Heather.
Thank you, Carolyn.
I gotta say, when you talked about focus, like I am going through a separation right now, and in the past, what's happened is he's always tried to come back to me, and I've always let him back. He's left me about 8 times, and I can choose to put my focus on him, but I've been visualizing him trying to get back with me and me saying no, because I deserve a good relationship. I keep telling myself that I don't deserve a good relationship, but that's bullshit. I deserve a good husband. I deserve a good relationship. I deserve the best in life, and we all do. And it's that confidence, that focus, that energy. And I love what you said about I can choose who's not in my life or who is in my life.
Yeah.
Because just at this very moment, my sister's here upstairs with my 6-year-old playing with her while I get to participate in this amazing call. So I can choose to be grateful for that.
Yeah.
And I can choose to be grateful for the 133 comments that I can scroll through that make me feel like it was a good decision, for this separation to happen, that it is destiny, and that I feel aligned in my mind, heart, and gut, and certain about it. You really touched me with what you said. The focus is so huge for me because I think we all have a little bit of ADD. I know I do.
Go on.
It's God knows what I'm talking about. So it's hard for me to focus at times, but as soon as you said focus, I don't know if anybody noticed, but I'm sure we all straightened our back and focused on you because, you wanted us to focus. So I just need to ask that of myself, focus on my passion, on my goals, and to visualize myself, like visualizing myself succeeding so big. Just seeing myself already achieving my goals, like having already done it and getting in that state of emotional gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes me feel good. So thank you, Heather, so much.
Awesome. I'm thrilled. I'm glad that some of it resonated with you. Amazing.
Heather, real quick, there was a couple of things that hearing you came up with me. First of all, when you were talking about the divorce and blah 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 blah, it reminded me of something that someone told me one time. He's like, every time you're going through a challenge or something rough, just think that in a couple of months or in a month or in a year, you're going to be laughing at this situation.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because they always tell me, like, sooner or later, maybe it's going to take a week, maybe it's going to take a month, maybe it's going to take a year, but you're going to be talking about it and you're going to be like laughing about it. And most of the time, with all my issues that I've had, whether it's in business or financially or at work or relationship wise, it's true. And it's having that awareness that, this thing shall pass. So when you're going through the rain or when you're going through the storm, if you have that mentality and that focus, or as for me, that's what keeps me going, that I'm just going to ride the shit out and do the best that I can. And it's funny that the topic was focus because yesterday I posted a picture, if you look up, you see the sky, it just depends what you're looking for. And I'm a totally believer because my brother, his older house, he had a fireplace that we had to put wood. Mm-hmm. And so we had to go get wood or buy wood. And it's funny because after he bought that house, every time I used to drive by, any kind of wood, my focus would be there. And before that, I wouldn't even notice it.
Right.
So it's totally depends. Like one time they had an analogy about a circle and how a circle. So now every time I see a circle, I think of that analogy. And it's just, what we focus on and what we carry our day or selves with. So thanks. It's awesome.
Awesome.
Heather, you yoga, you said, what are some lessons from yoga that help with the visualization and meditative aspect?
What are some lessons from yoga?
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest lesson from yoga overall has to be about breathing. And breathing is one of these things that we think we should be able to just breathe optimally, naturally, but there's so many things that affect us every day, our emotions will cause stress, which release hormones in our body that's going to cause our breathing to speed up, and all sorts of things that take us into like a hyperactive, anxious type mode. And one of the best ways to get yourself into the most calm and clear place for visualizing is a really calm, long breath. And I guess that having a really long breath really helps you focus your mind. That's one of the things that I've had a teacher say, if your breath is really fast, your mind is going to be really fast and choppy. You know, if your breath is really long and slow and just like relaxed, then your mind tends to be able to have longer, smoother thoughts. So one of the things, if you're really feeling scattered, one of the best things to do is, and I have to remind myself constantly, my default state is to get really hyper. But
I have that problem.
yeah, so I like many times through the day go, okay, I'm feeling like almost dizzy. I'm so hyper. So I've got to bring it down. And it's like, I've had someone say that the mind is the kite and your breath is the string. So however you want that kite to fly, if you want the kite all over the place, like jerking all over the around, then you breathe like that. If you want the kite to be smooth and beautiful and flowing, then you need to breathe that way. And raising your energy just through a yoga practice, like a physical yoga practice raises your energy. I always have like a few hours of this amazing clarity after practicing Bikram yoga. And it was like a gift. I was like, I never could count on anything making me feel so clear as I could after yoga. So it just gets you into like a higher state through the breathing, through the physical work. And so that's why I think these things like priming, are so valuable to get yourself into the state where you can have the highest kind of visualizations for yourself.
I think you find peace in the breath. I think that's where I find my peace. And I notice when I'm stuck in traffic, or like if I'm on the train, sometimes I'll stop breathing. Like I can act, because I've become aware of my breath, because I know, just like you said, I do Bikram yoga and it's amazing. And I love how I feel after it.
Yeah.
And the ideas I have, the clarity, like you said, I can relate to that so much. And so now I'm so aware of my breath that I've been breathing from my diaphragm, like often, all the time, telling myself, just breathe, don't hold your breath, just breathe, you know?
Yeah.
And it really does feel amazing. So I love that.
Heather, wait till you see the video I just posted to your Facebook page. You're going to crack up.
I love it.
I think I mean I can relate to breathing and quietness like yoga, because have you guys ever been looking for an address and you you catch yourself turning the radio down, or like if you're parking and you turn the radio down, like, I mean, it's just music, it's not blocking your eyes, but it's just that we need to focus.
Yes.
And it's so funny because I mean our mind automatically does that, you know, it tells us turn the radio down. You know, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting you say that, because there's something called the Mozart effect that a lot of writers use. They'll listen to music in the background as they write, and I do that. I write a lot of articles, and I'll sometimes have music on, and the music actually helps me concentrate in a different way because it blocks out other distractions. So
that's true.
It's just amazing how our minds work and how concentration be influenced by so many things. Yeah,
it's like I see people like studying at Starbucks or doing that, and I'm like, I couldn't do that. I mean, I to me, when I study, I need to be all zoned out and in a quiet library. And then other people, I mean, it depends on music. Like if it's classical music or, you know, very soft music, you know, and that's why they say that, you know, to me, I believe that music kind of gets your flow going. Like now that I started listening to Ludacris, my workouts have been like fucking amazing.
Yeah, exactly. But Ludacris is like such high energy. It's kind of silly. He's like over the top confident and it's ridiculous. It's like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah. So,
and hey guys, I am at the other meeting, so I'm gonna have to go. Thank you, Heather, for your topic, and I'll catch up with you guys later.
Bye, Frankie. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Frankie. Everybody say happy birthday, Frankie.
Happy birthday, Frankie.
We love you.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah. So if there's anyone else who, like, I don't want anyone to miss out on saying stuff they want to say, well.
Yeah. This is Ralph Goldhouse. Heather, I just want to say I appreciated your topic on focus. I've experienced a severe automobile accident where I had broken ribs and punctured collapsed lung, a cut spleen, fractured C2, and a whole list. And I was in ICU for 10 days. When I woke up, you know, in the ICU, you know, I started becoming very angry, and, you know, listening to Tony he's said several times, what have you got to be grateful for? And I asked myself that question, and it changed my state. And the accident was May 9th. July 29th, I went back out and I did a 5-mile run. I was able to overcome, the doctors told me after another surgery, I've healed as if it was 18 to 24 months, not just 4 months. And they said it was your attitude. And I disagree. I was focusing on what I have to be grateful for. And you find that in any event, when you're talking about divorce, but you can always find something to be thankful for. I look back at that accident as a blessing, as a gift, because I've learned so much out of it. What we focus on, we can focus on that paper cut, as you were talking about, or a tragedy in life, or focus on the blessings when you go through a divorce. Who are we going to meet out there? How are our lives going to be enriched? We had this past experience, but now we're moving on to something else. I love the topic. I just thought you did an excellent job and wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And that's just amazing, like to come out of an accident like that and be able to run, to start running like within that short of a time. Like, thank you for sharing that. That's really exciting. And it just shows the power of our brains. Like, we're able to do things that beyond what doctors can tell us, beyond what other people tell us is acceptable and normal. If you start focusing and using the power, you can really change your life, like really dramatically, really quickly. It's awesome.
I ran a half marathon with my daughter, and we set a goal of completing 2 hours and 30 minutes. We completed 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 17 seconds. But we stopped to help somebody who was riding a bike who ran into a barricade and he got tangled in his chain. So we stopped briefly, and someone else said, "Hey, we'll help them, go on," because we were in the race and in the run. And I'm sure we spent, 15, 20 seconds, helping the gentleman who crashed his bike. So, I was focusing. I knew what my capabilities were. So I didn't, how should I say, I didn't go out and set a unachievable goal, but I focused on, that time crossing that finish line. And be careful what you focus on, what you dream on. You bring that into your life.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think it's what you just said there is like, that's kind of what I've tried to talk about there with diversification of your idea of success. Because, with money, of course, you want to be financially solid or stable or, thriving. But you know what? Occasionally you want to recognize that you want to be a great human along the way too. And I think just like you said with that, is you have this goal of 2 hours and 30 minutes, but along the way you had this great opportunity to help someone in need, and you missed the time by 17 seconds. Big deal. You can do it. But you got to help a human during the race as well. So that's like a huge bonus. And you made a choice to like pick something even greater, which I think is awesome.
I want to say hello to everyone. I'm back. And I'll tell you what, I was working, but I cheated a little bit and I left you guys on audio and I listened to the rest of the call because it was just too awesome to miss. So thank you, Heather. And I agree with all of you guys that, things keep showing up for me now that I'm on the 100-day challenge and I'm focusing on my goals. And the more vividly I focus on my goals and do visualization exercises and really state them out loud, but not state them just because I have to, state them because I believe they're going to happen and feeling it in my body, the more opportunities show up in my life to support that. Just like Paulo Coelho says, when you really want something, the whole universe conspires in helping you achieve it. Mm-hmm. And it's just true. And that's the way it was for me in UPW when I wanted to go. And it was like, there's no way, I can't afford it right now. And it would require me a flight from Israel and just everything all together. And I ended up getting bumped to the first class on the flight, and getting serious, like, we just got into the Diamond Premier seating, and like had this crazy experience that is giving me so much since then that I couldn't even imagine. And all that took was having focus when I was RPMing, writing that, the outcome I want for everything was attending UPW. And even though I have to say I had, at first, life was showing me all the challenges at first, just kind of to test me out and see how serious I was about it. And, everything wrong possible was happening. My dog needed surgery, and I lost some money, and everything just became more impossible. But I told my friends and my team, I was like, listen, this is just a challenge. All I have to do is prove that I'm serious. And once I proved that, everything changed. I wasn't charged for my flight, things I can't explain that like happened to me, and I made that happen. So definitely agree with you guys, and really inspired by that. We should kind of end the call. I do have a question I want to ask everyone before we end it, but I want to ask Heather, is there something you want to say to wrap up the subject of focus?
No, I mean, I think just to leave you with the thought, I think the most important thing to remember is it's just a skill to practice, and you have the power to decide what you're going to focus on. Start by becoming aware of what you are focusing on, and then, make a choice to say, is this what I want to be focusing on? And is there maybe something a little better I could be focusing on? And then start practicing focusing on something that actually brings you closer to the things you want. And just have fun with it. Like, sometimes be ridiculous with it. Like, go, play around and enjoy playing around with it. Don't make it so serious. And have the best day ever. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I want to give Heather a round of applause, first of all. Thank you so much for today's call. Everybody muted, so just imagine like a larger crowd.
It's great.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And I want to rock out with you guys as we leave the call, and wish you an amazing day. But before that, I'll say something really quick. I'll take 20 seconds. I had a coaching session, and I got a challenge from my coach, and he knew I was going to be on a call today. So he challenged me to ask you guys a question. And it's pretty much a simple question. It's something I'm debating and thinking of maybe investing in a platform for iinspire that will allow not only, having all the content that we're working on, and more upgraded content and interviews and things like that, but also allowing people to get mentor and coaching online on the platform and things like that. That would require an investment. And because of that, I like to ask a simple question is, and don't think this over too much, and don't think that it's going to be relevant for right now for you, but the question is simply, how much do you think you'd pay monthly to be a participant in a platform like that? And I'm asking you more to see what, would be kind of a good business strategy for this, for people that I bring to the platform in the future. So off the top of your head, in 10 seconds, what comes out? And I'll ask this in a message as well. What do you guys think?
Well, $10 is a no-brainer, and I'm embarrassed to say that because it seems so low, but that is like such a no-brainer.
Okay.
Wait, am I unmuted? Wait, so is it like there's going to be calls every day like this?
Yes, there are going to be calls like this. They're going to be like the 100-day challenge and other challenges and things to keep you guys motivated. Daily tips, daily info, a lot of online content, whether it's videos and audio and things like that. Even event tickets you can get discounts for, and you can get mentor and you can get coaching on the site itself, with people. Of course, it wouldn't include the price of the coaching, but you'd have access to some of the best coaches and interviews and things like that. Just what you have here times 100 kind of thing.
I would like, I would probably pay $20 for that. And then if there were people, like, I guess maybe after the first round, who are like, oh my gosh, this is what happened. If there were testimonials, because I'm really motivated by testimonials, I would probably pay up to 50. But off the top of my head, if I just saw it, I'm like, oh, I'm willing to pay 20. But I could pay up to 50.
Cool. Thank you.
Hey, Yuli.
Yali, tiered pricing is often what's done on something like that. Sometimes there's a free level. $19.99 would probably be your intermediate level, and then you might have a premium level, and the premium level might be, you know,
$49.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
what
the
I was going to
standard
suggest.
pricing structure: $19.95 and then $49.95.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
Okay, cool. Having a few different prices and then having different things that you would get for those prices, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it could, well, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Like for $49.95, maybe you get.
And I've thought about it too. I just really also want you guys to really come from a place of like what I would pay. So which one are you? What do you think you'd put out there right now today if the platform was up?
I'd probably be more about the $10 a month because I have so many expenses. But if it was, yeah, I think I'd probably be more about like that could be a pretty reasonable commitment of finance towards something that's, you know, I think the value is probably more than that, but what I would pay right now is probably 10.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I think you'd have to define exactly what you were doing because, to be honest with you, as you've described it, it sounds like we've already got it for free, so why pay for it? But if you give more detail on structure, and I know you and I've talked offline, so I'm saying that is really more planning to you that I think you need to do a better job of defining what the iinspire platform really is, and then get a clear answer. Because right now, the answer is
first out there.
Everyone might tell you a number, but the truth is we're all getting for free what you've described. I think iinspire is so much more, and you need to go a little further.
Yeah, it's all about perceived value.
I would I would probably do a 10-day free intro so that people see what the value is in order to pay for it.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I also think it depends on where a person's at because just from my experience, I'd be willing to pay, you know, like $50 a month because of where I'm at. You know, if I'm just starting off, I just want to, you know, I'll pay probably the lowest level, but, you know.
Yeah. Awesome. Really cool. Thank you guys. I'll wrap up this conversation now, and I'll definitely share more with you guys as I go and ask you more questions on our groups. And if you guys come up with ideas of what you'd expect to have on there and value that you would want to get through the platform, that'll not only help me out, but help other people and start a conversation to see if it's worth investing in. Thank you so much for being a part of that. It took something to ask that. And so did it, but my coach will be proud. So it's another step in the focus direction of where I want to go. So thank you guys for that. I'll give you guys a round of applause for that.
You just want to clap, Yali.
I do. I admit it. It's it is. So speaking of clapping, we can all clap and clap for the day that we're going to have because it's going to be so amazing. And have an amazing one. And I love you guys. Thank you. Woo!
Woo, woo. Okay.
Anyone who's on video can dance their way out. Bye, everyone.